One of the biggest surprises that we had with this project actually occurred this week. Last week we sent out letters to all of these offenders and noticed them that this project would be up and running in December. And if anybody had any questions or concerns with it, they could give us a call. And and actually I thought we would spend Monday and Tuesday of this week speaking with angry individuals that this project is going to disclose their violations of the law. And actually we found quite the opposite. We received 4 contacts. 2 gentlemen called and said, I really wish I wasn't on a part of this project, but I have to tell you it's a really good idea, and I hope that it helps others to avoid the circumstances that I've encountered. And one of them suggested that we also ought to close down the bars at midnight rather than 2 in the morning, but I don't know that we'll be willing to take that on yet. Another offender sent us a letter, and he again supported the project, offered to be a mentor for others, and offered to speak publicly about the project. So our experience with the offenders that we're showing here are quite the opposite of what I thought. There was one offender that had moved away from his home here in Janesville and had moved to Rockford, so we'll adjust the website accordingly. But all the people that have made contact with us, surprisingly, were in support of the project. As a matter of process, the way we were able to bring this together, we worked with the Department of Transportation, and they provided us lists of these offenders, and all we got was the DL numbers. We didn't have identifications, addresses, anything, just the driver's license numbers. So Leslie and some other folks would have to run all of these driver's license numbers to find out that if in fact they lived in the city, and and assure that they had 5 or more convictions and those issues. So it was kind of time consuming to do that. And as you can see, initially we thought there wouldn't be as many of these offenders. So we told the DOT, I said, well, why don't you just send us everybody that's in Rock County? We'll figure out who lives in Janesville. Well, when the first list came and we had over 1,000, we said, okay, well, wait a minute, maybe you better just send us Janesville. And they sent us Janesville, and we were able to work through that. We started with 4 offenses. It was too many. We relented, went with 5, and then ended up with this process. But once we identify those offenders, then we need to go about the job of assuring where they live. And that was involved as well, and we used many different computer resources in the post office and probation and different sources to assure that these folks actually live where our information looks. And it looks like we were quite successful with that, as we've only been contacted by one person that said that they have moved. Looking forward, it'll be a bit of work to keep up with those addresses, but we think that it's a manageable project. We think that it is one that is important to the community. If I could have Officer Chad Sullivan come up, he's going to share with you some different ways that citizens can contact us if they see violations.
Well, obviously, people can contact the Janesville Police Department directly at our main line, which is 608-755-3100. But if you want to remain anonymous, we have a pretty good way in Janesville, which is Crime Stoppers. You have 3 different ways you can do it. You can call the Crime Stopper line at 608, excuse me, 756-3636. It's a 24-hour line, which is completely anonymous, and we have a person answering that phone. I'm sorry. Nerves. I don't do press conferences. Cut this. But that's a person that answers that phone 24 hours a day, which is kind of nice. You can text your tips to crimes, which is 274-637, and that is the letter spelled out crimes, and you type in JACS, J-A-C-S, which is Janesville Area Crime Stoppers, plus your message. And what that is, it comes to our Crime Stopper line anonymously, and we can have interactive conversations with you through texting, which is fairly new within the last year. You can also go to the City of Janesville website, if you can go to that, Leslie. and you can text or go to a web tip, which is on the left side of the page here, submit a crime tip, and you can fill out the, if you want to click on that, go to web tipping, and you'll get a drop-down database which you can fill in the offender's information, where they are, what the police department can do, where they can find them. We do monitor the Crime Stopper line 24 hours a day. We have sergeants that monitor that. I monitor it during the day. So if you do the web tipping, it comes to us with all the information. We will follow up on that. The texting information is fairly quick also. You just put the necessary information, but you have to put in JACS, J-A-C-S, because that message that you send to us by text goes to Canada, and in Canada it goes through a server and it comes back to us if you put in JACS. And that's important to get that in there, otherwise we will never get that message. It will stay out there. So to recap, 3 ways. Call the crime line at 608-756-3636. 24 hours a day you'll get somebody texting to JACS or to Crimes, Janesville Area Crime Stoppers, and then go to the website here. And on our City of Janesville website it explains all the 3 ways. So completely anonymous, it's a good way to get the information to us.
Thanks, Chad. Kate Baldwin is the Director of Partners in Prevention, has served the community for many years, and this coalition has concerns with appropriate alcohol use in the community. Kate?
Good morning, and thank you, Dave, for this opportunity. Partners in Prevention is an anti-drug coalition focusing mostly on underage drinking. And what we have found with underage drinking is that it is a community problem, and it's also, as we all know, because we live in Wisconsin, it's a community norm here that not only do teenagers drink, but we as adults overconsume. This is a fantastic opportunity for the adults of the community to change that community norm, to make drinking and driving not an acceptable behavior in our county and in Janesville. Partners in Prevention has worked long and hard with Crime Stoppers to make submit a crime tip available to the community, not only in Janesville, but Beloit and Edgerton, so that there is no excuse for community members not to participate in Sober Streets. We want our community to be safe for everyone, and this is the community's opportunity to join in the fight against underage drinking and adult consumption.
Thanks, Kate. I'd like to have Neil DuePree come up and speak. He is the chair of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee, and that is a group of committee members that from all aspects of the criminal justice system, and we look towards efficiencies and ways to make differences in our communities from a wider perspective of the entire criminal justice community. Neil?
Thank you, Dave. He summarized what the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council is very well. We've been in existence for a little over 5 years, and our members include the sheriff, the district attorney, the chief judge, the public defender, and other important members of the Criminal Justice Committee system. Our job is to increase communication between the members of the criminal justice system, but also to encourage other members to do creative and effective things in our community. And this is a great example of doing something creative, proactive, and involving the whole community in making our community safer and encouraging people to not offend as opposed to arresting them and locking them up after they do offend. So the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council has been apprised of this project for the last several months as it's been conceived and run up. So we're grateful that it's finally working, and we're looking forward to it making a difference in the number of people who are actually arrested and jailed for operating while intoxicated.